you'll be needing medical attention when I leave you bleeding. Throw a monkey wrench in your program.
Hello, everybody.
Your ass and it's
It is
just
me,
too
Demetra
bad,
K.
son. Catch a bad
And I'm sitting here with Donovan throwing his rocks, and high in his hand, Sadiq. This is another edition of the Demetra K Show, where we are several outlets. First, we are on Facebook Live, the original, the OG audience, where it all started. Then we're also on YouTube. Well, eventually we'll be on YouTube, which is why you see the green screens, and Donovan will be producing that video. We're also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, and where else?
Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Google Plus, and what's the other one?
And wherever.
Facebook. Yeah, Facebook.
So we're everywhere. We're trying to expand. And as always, I'd like to give a big thank you to Donovan for making all this happen. Also, I'd like to thank Marcus Guyton for also helping to spread the message, because it is going far. I would say really a large thank you to Marcus, because last week we saw over 13,000 views just on Facebook alone. And so what an awesome thing, and awesome to have somebody to, help us do that. And so also, just trying to give everybody a chance to get on. The purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of the things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, because we are good people, but just, to kind of enhance what we are already doing to take it to the next level. And so, as you guys probably saw, we're going to be talking about Pastor John Gray, and the title is What's Wrong with Pastor John Gray Giving His Wife a $200,000 Truck? For those of you guys who don't know who Pastor John Gray is, I'm going to tell you in just a minute. Hey, Tay, what's happening?
Hey, Tay.
So, as I said, I want to give people a chance to get on, because what happens is people say, what are we talking about? And all that kind of stuff. And admittedly, that's a little bit my fault, because I speak fast. It's just kind of like my teaching style, to get all the information out first, and then we can have a conversation. So also, we are going to be having an open discussion, because as always, there's a lot of stuff that goes on throughout the week in between the time that we are here. And so I can't cover everything because I'm not everywhere, but I depend on you guys and Donovan, everybody else, to kind of give me a little bit of information I might have missed. And we'll do our best to talk about it. Also, within that open discussion, if you want to ask us a question, whether it's personally, financially, or, just anything that you feel led to ask. Hey, Samuel, anything you feel lead to ask us, and we'll do our best to address it, answer it, or what have you. And of course, we have so many experts who are on Facebook Live who are knowledgeable about a lot of things as well. And so I will go ahead and get started with our topic. And again, that topic is what's wrong with Pastor John Gray buying his wife a $200,000 Lamborghini truck. Okay. So initially that makes people go, oh my God, right. A $200,000 Lamborghini truck. I've never seen one up close. And so, hey, Holland, and I'll get to all you guys' comments, I swear, right after I read this. Okay. And so, who is Pastor John Gray? He is the head pastor of Relentless Church that is located in South Carolina, and is the associated pastor. So I don't know if he still is or was, but anyway, he's associated pastor of Lakewood Church that is under the leadership of Joel Osteen out of Houston, Texas. Pastor John Gray has also got national attention from being associated with Oprah Winfrey. He got his own show on the OWN network. And I also say this too before I get started. There is a link on here for those of you guys who are not friends with me, and for whatever reason you can't comment. If you click on the link, you will be able to comment on the show, and I will read your comments. And so I'll get back to what I was saying. Okay, and so Pastor John has gotten national attention from being associated with Oprah Winfrey. He has his own show on the OWN network called The Book of John Gray. That is a docudrama about his life and about him helping people through, I guess, his knowledge and wisdom and biblically, right? He also has written 2 books. His belief is that everyone was made on purpose and made for a purpose. He has a net worth of $7 million and is married to Adventure Gray, who serves beside him in ministry. They met as while him and her rather were, she was on the dance ministry and he was serving as associate pastor at Lakewood Church. And they've been married for 8 years and have 2 children together. Now, fast forward to the $200,000 Lamborghini truck. Pastor John has taken some heat because he took to social media to show everyone that he bought his wife the truck as an 8th wedding anniversary gift during a big celebration ceremony that they had, right? So in the now deleted video, he was handing keys to the Lamborghini truck to his wife, okay? So again, he deleted the video due to a lot of the backlash that he received from doing so. And so in that video, he said, quote, "You light my fire, let this Lamborghini light your fire, baby." Okay, end quote. Now, people are accusing him of using church funds to make the extravagant purchase. People have also been calling him a false prophet, a pulpit pimp, just to name a few things. Now, Gray then responded with the following, and this is a quote. "First of all, it wasn't a pastor that bought the car. It was a husband that bought the car. Get that in your spirit," Grace said in the 23-minute video that I happened to watch this morning because I was like, I want to get the information for myself. Okay. So he said, "Get that in your spirit. I'm a husband first. Don't confuse what I do with who I am," which is like weird, but that's what he said. I repeat that. Don't confuse. Let me make sure I got it right. Don't confuse what I do with who I am. What I do is pastors God's people. Who I am is a husband and a father, and I'll do anything to honor them. And I won't ask permission from anybody to do it. Okay. He also said that no money from the church paid for the truck, that the proceeds from his, why are you looking at me? Y'all should see Donovan's face, but that the proceeds from his books and television appearances and all that is what paid for the truck. And in the video,
he would mind auditing. He would mind auditing.
Well, I mean, I guess he wouldn't mind auditing, but he said on his video, now I don't know how much weight this holds, but during the video, he says, "As God should strike me dead if I'm lying about that." So, like that means anything to anybody. I'm just telling you what the man said. He says, "God will strike me dead if I'm lying." So like President Trump, we want to see your taxes. You're going to show us your taxes. Or Bill Clinton, I didn't tell, and I did not have sexual intercourse. Right. So he shouldn't have a problem with that. So. Right. Okay. So that's what he said. No money from the church paid for his wife's $200,000 Lamborghini. Okay. So then his wife, Adventure, stated via social media the following. Okay. And this is a quote from her. "My hubby is a hard worker. He worked his whole life and he saved to bless his wife." And then she hashtagged him. Author 2 times. So he has 2 books. Silent endorsements. Because everyone doesn't have to brag about who they are signed to. 6 TV shows. Movie producer. Songwriter. Isn't she bragging right there? And tours. Well, I'm just telling you what she's saying. Right there? I'm telling you what she's saying. And tours. She also said gives away cars. Full houses full of furniture, coats off his back, checks before pastoring and tithes, that is its entirety, this is her words, between 2 churches and those he feels led to at any given moment. Been working for years. Get out of here. She also says, and that's the closing the quote, "I don't see anyone screaming about how basketball players drive what they drive while you paying money, $, she put, to see them in all arenas and on fields. We don't live for people. We live for God. Back to my regularly scheduled grocery store trip. Happy Sunday," she ended. All right. Now, should also be noted that folks are saying that he allowed the congregation to come up and take money directly out of the offering basket 2 weeks before he posted the video of him buying his wife the Lamborghini truck. Okay, so others have brought up the fact that, and this is what I've seen on social media stuff, others have brought up the fact that Jesus never acted in such a manner regarding money and material things. And what else do I have here? But many people have also wondered why he would buy and flaunt such a lavish gift while there are people that are struggling in his very own congregation. He couldn't get a Sentra, a Corolla. I'm going to ask that question. So save that question, though. Gotcha. So without giving too much commentary, because I tell you guys, I can go on forever about this. I want to ask you guys, What's wrong with Pastor Gray buying his wife a $200,000 Lamborghini truck, if indeed, because I mean, we don't know anything to be different, if indeed he did pay for it out of his own pocket. All right, so I will get to you guys' comments because I see you guys have some things to say.
Well, first
already.
of all, I'm going to say this. If the IRS gets to him, he better show that he has a salary that justifies that going into it.
Well, I mean, he's on his 4th season of the Book of John Gray on OWN.
But they ain't paying that.
I mean, we don't.
Okay, we don't know. All I'm saying.
They're saying that he's worth $7 million. Listen, I don't know John Gray. I'm only knowing what I researched and what I found, and it says the dude is worth $700 million. I mean, 700. Wow. $7 million, and he has, book deals. Sounds like New York West Times selling.
He's doing
books.
what Joel Osteen does by going through the church to get a tax exempt status and selling his books that don't get tax exempt, and he's kind of using it as a safe haven.
Okay, well,
so he's doing the same. It's the same playbook. It's the same playbook.
I'm gonna get to y'all comments. So, Holly, you said there was nothing wrong with John Gray buying his wife a $200,000 vehicle.
If you serve
Samuel says, hello, sister and brother.
All right. Okay, and I'm not saying her opinion is not valid, but there's a parable, or a matter of fact, there's a quote in the Bible of the rich man that came up to Jesus, and the rich man said, Lord, I love your ministry. I love everything about you. What can I do to serve you? What's the first thing Jesus told him? Sell all your shit and follow me. But
there's also the part in the Bible that says that the pastors should be blessed. The congregation.
Wait, no. I'm gonna have to disagree because
it does not say that in the Bible.
It does say in the Bible, but here's the thing.
Argument time.
Sheep do not take care of shepherds. Shepherds take care of sheep.
But in the Bible, it does say that the sheep are supposed to take care of the pastor too.
Okay, good. I'm a Catholic. All the priests in the Catholic Church are taken care of by the diocese, the people of the church.
Right.
You don't see them running around in $200,000 cars and all that other stuff.
The Pope just has a bulletproof car that he rides around.
Well, that's different because the Pope tried to be assassinated. But anyway, but what I'm saying is at the local level, like this guy is, in the Catholic Church, their worldly needs are being taken care of by the thing. And that's what I think was meant in that thing about they will be taken care of, not enrich themselves.
Okay. All right, well, we're going to get to that. And so, again, if you guys want to comment on this and you're not friends with me for whatever reason, click the link and you'll be able to comment. All right. So, Tay, you says, was it P? What? And Al says, why do so many brag about things when we buy and the cost of it?
That's what's really outrageous about it. That's what's outrageous. If you're going to bless your wife, be quiet about it.
Okay. And then Belinda says, if it's legitimately his money used to purchase the vehicle, then so be it. But if he's using church funds, then I say no. Mm-hmm. Holland says, I'm with you, Al, on the fact that why brag about it. Right. Let's see. And then Tay says, but isn't being a pastor, a.k.a. man of God, who he is and what he is? Well, I thought
That's
were the two, but I guess, maybe he got tongue-tied. I don't know. I don't go to church, you guys. But I do know a lot about the Bible for a whole host of reasons, and I've shared this with you guys
before. Well, you're
an
educated person, so yeah.
Well, not just because I'm educated. I like to learn new things, but I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just, asking you guys because I've seen a lot of pushback about him having the truck for his wife. Okay, and then so Belinda, you also say basketball players aren't spending money to given to them for the health and wealth of the church. True, right. Christopher,
2 different career fields.
What's happening? Says Belinda. Stephen hit the nail on the head. Additionally, how did he come by his wealth? No man should become wealthy off the backs of their congregation, i.e., people should make no more than a living wage or for leading a church. I don't care who they are, what church it is, or how big the church is. Okay.
What kind of message are you sending? Greed, greed, greed?
And Billy says, some crooked-ass pastors just like all the rest. And Al says, I know of a lot of brothers who brag about how many women they slept with and how big their regions are. Again, black man, who really cares on what you have and pay for? Let your silence be the price tag. Okay, now. Right. And Tay says, obviously, I picked the wrong career. I should have been a pastor. I said
Be a chaplain. Then work it out.
Same thing earlier. And Pam, he says, I don't know his. I think he meant to say I don't know his personal financial well-being. If he can't afford it, then do so. I hope that he is also helping the community and congregation. Okay, so that was all the comments. So He says that he is helping the congregation. His wife went on a rant because she's mad about people being mad about him buying his wife a truck. And so she's saying that he does do all those things. It's also said that 2 weeks before that, he allowed the congregation to come up and take money from
because he knew what he was going to do. That's what that is.
But I would just say this too, because I know, and listen, I get kind of skeptical about certain things too, but I know that it is easy for us to demonize people. And I'm not, listen, like I said, I don't really know a whole lot about John Gray, but I would just like to say it's easy for us to demonize people because we know that it's for a fact that pastors, especially in our community, have a bad reputation and a well-deserved reputation because they, in my words, trick off the money for themselves while they do have a congregation, as Chris said, they are struggling.
You have one right down the street.
Well, it ain't my pastor.
Well, but it's a church. You know of a church right now.
But so you're buying your wife a $200,000 car and you're flaunting it, at this big whirlwind celebration they had. I know Tyrese, the singer, was there, and a few other people were there.
And you got to pay Tyrese.
So there's a few people at this. So it was huge, to say the least. And then you get on social media and make this big old deal about you giving your wife a truck.
And then you don't want people to criticize or say anything.
Well, also out of that same Bible, it asks you and us, especially if you're a man that's teaching the Bible, to use wisdom.
Right.
And wisdom would say to you that, okay, I'm bragging, and especially in the climate that we're in, where people are complaining about pastors spending so much money. I mean, it was a crapload dollar who asked the congregation to but buy him a $65 million jet that he ended up getting, and he already had a jet. So he asked the congregation to buy him this jet, $65 million. And so it's like, why do you need all of these things? I mean, I get it. Yeah, you want to travel, this, that, and the other. But if you got people who are struggling in your congregation, and a lot of those people, because I hate to say this, they're a little bit on the dead side, that they will give their all in the name of sowing a seed. They're all including the rent, their light bill money, and the money that's essential for them to survive.
They're desperate, right?
Well, they're not desperate. They just believe.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They're desperate for a miracle or something to get them out of this situation.
Because that's what they're taught. Even if it's your rent, sow a seed of faith, brother and sister, and that money will come back to you. But it's like, okay, I'm sowing you a seed of faith while you're hopping on a $65 million jet, or your wife is going to peel off. Even if it's the money you use to pay for it of your own, she's going to peel off in a $200,000 truck while sister so-and-so about to get on the bus with 5 of her kids.
Right. And then the brunt of the work in the church is done by those very people. I mean, when a pastor gets that high, you can't even approach him.
Well, yeah, you got to go through hit the armor bearer. Then that armor bearer has an armor bearer.
Right. My grandmother's in the hospital. She needs prayer. The pastor of the church that she's been going to for 70 years can't even come in.
The old school pastors could.
Right.
They come see sister so-and-so, come to the sick and shut in list. But now it's like, well, we're going to let the associate pastor of the associate pastor, who knows the associate pastor.
Of the ministry, of the youth ministry.
Come talk to you. Right. And so let's see, get to these other comments.
It's just outrageous.
Yeah, he said he opened himself up to criticism. She needs to be mad at him. And I agree with you on that.
Keep your stuff on the down low.
Well, not that down low.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Keep it on the down low.
But everybody don't need to know that you're doing all that for your wife in such a braggadocious manner. And I'm going to get to you guys' comments, but I thought about some scriptures, and one of them is James 4:16. So, like I said, I don't go to church, but I know that if you are preaching the word, at least some of this you should know. So in James 4:16, it says, as it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. And so to me, I think for him to boast about him buying his wife, like, why do we know it cost $200,000?
Right, we should know that.
So I don't know if somebody went and researched it, but you're bragging. That's a hell of a car. I ain't mad at him, but that's a hell of a car, but you're bragging about that.
Or how about this question? I've been tithing to the church for 30 years faithfully. Got the receipts and everything. Now I've gone through hard times. Is the church going to get me a Corolla? Are they going to get me a car? Can I go to the church?
Most churches now, they used to have a benevolence fund back in the day. A lot of churches don't have that for whatever. They don't have the money.
Oh, but we're going to get. Do you see them?
Right. Yeah, and then so Ali says, greedy black preachers are pernicious. There you go, your big words.
Big
and
words,
it makes
big
people
words.
not believe in them. And then Belinda says, I'm totally turned off the church and religion because of all the stuff I witnessed and hear. Same here for you. Got a lot of you guys who have probably seen the series on OWN called Greenleaf.
Yes.
I've watched that series.
Keith
I'm waiting
David
for the
is awesome.
Yes,
wow.
but I'm waiting for the third season to come on Hulu because I don't have regular TV. Because I said I don't care what nobody says. That story of Greenleaf
It's real.
It's real. It's a lot of people's story of what happens and has happened in the church, especially our church. And so I agree. A church and the dynamics of it have turned a lot of people off. And then, hey, Marjorie, rather. Mm-hmm. It said, what is done with the money does not negate the blessing of the giver.
No, it doesn't. However, if the money's outright stolen and embezzled, it kind of does because the money didn't go where it was intended to go.
Well, so I agree with what she's saying.
Yeah.
So if I give the money in good faith,
right,
then I did my part. However, I mean, because like I said, I've studied, the Bible. Not
you
as
should
much
have oversight over your church's funds. That's
a,
why the pastor should not be involved in the church funds.
Well, he's not supposed to be, but
right.
we know that's
not in our
right.
community. Not in our community.
Well, in a lot of communities, a lot of people pastors just oversee the checkbook, but I find a lot of contradiction in the Bible, and maybe just me and my ignorance, but if the Bible is asking you to use wisdom, wouldn't that wisdom be to say, okay, Pastor so-and-so is asking me to sow a seed of faith. My rent is due in 5 days, and part of that seed of faith is my rent money. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying to be negative. I mean, miracles can happen, but at the same time, do I really want to be stressed out?
Okay.
Or do I want to put myself in a tight spot and not being able to pay my rent because I sowed a seed of faith?
Okay, how about this? You've sown a seed of faith 4 times. And every time you sowed a seed of faith, nothing happened, and you lost your lights, you lost this or whatever.
Because you didn't believe.
Right. But the pastor is taking money. Like I said, he could have got his wife a Corolla, or he could have just been quiet about it.
I mean, again, I don't have a problem with him getting his wife a Lamborghini, but
I do.
Well, the problem comes in is when, especially because, like I said, you guys know I'm in public relations PR, and so you have to be proactive. And somewhere, somebody, and this is why I know that somebody probably like Pastor John Gray is off the chain because I watched some of his stuff, and that you probably can't say a whole lot to him. Because somebody in his circle should have said, now, Pastor, that sure is a beautiful truck. But if I were you, I wouldn't post this video.
Exactly. Wait, and he met his wife where?
They worked at the Lakewood Church.
In the minister. So he's preying on the chicks in the congregation. Nice.
I don't know what the deal was.
Nice.
Where they met.
Predator in the congregation. A wolf in the congregation.
But wisdom, somebody, whether it's wisdom or whether somebody in your inner circle should have said, you know what, it's a nice truck. Pastor, but you might not want to post you giving your wife this truck on social media because, for one, the black church is taking a hit everywhere. And not only that, Pastor John Gray is the one that Watusi'd his ass to the White House to talk to Trump, telling everybody, Trump is, give him a chance and all this other stuff. So it's like, somebody should say, you already batting 1,000 within the black community. You might not want to post this video of you giving your wife this truck because they're going to scrutinize you.
Or how about this? Yeah, hey, Joel. Yeah, how did you get over that last situation? What should I do in this situation?
Right.
Go to your mentor and say, hey, how can I fool how can I bamboozle these fools?
He could have just been quiet and just let the word get out. If that was the way it was. And so Al says, black preachers' actions are gratuitous and its church members are blind, stupid, and diminutive. Well, maybe just a little bit stupid because, and I don't want to mean to be disrespectful, but at some point in time, you got to just start putting two together. Like, Donovan gave the analogy, if I have sold a seed of faith 4 times and I haven't reaped anything yet, but every month I continuously go down. My rent is past due. I'm waiting for that seed of faith. Now you're stressed out. And I don't think it's God's will to have you stressed out and worried about, I gave the church a seed of faith. Because, I have sat in churches where I've heard people, the pulpit ask people to do those things. Don't worry about how the rent is going to get paid. Leave it to God.
I have 3 animals. Not once in the years that I've owned those animals have those animals taken care of me. I take care of the animals. sheep do not take care of the shepherd. The shepherd takes care of the sheep.
Well,
I'm sorry. That's just how it works.
I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying if we're speaking biblically, it does say that, and I can't remember the scripture, but it does say that we are supposed to bless.
The Catholic Church. They're not supposed to enrich themselves. Yeah, you can talk all you want about the Pope. But there is no...
But what if he is truly enriching himself?
The Pope?
No, I'm talking about people like John Gray, and we're talking about John Gray, but what if he is truly enriching himself off of the things that he, off of his books and his movies?
Okay, here's the thing.
All right, I see y'all comments.
And you guys have to research Joel Osteen. The reason why these pastors are getting away with what they're doing is they are doing it, I'm not saying illegally. They're using a loophole in the tax shelter. It's a tax shelter, right?
Separation of church and state.
Right. They're using that as a tax shelter thing. If they didn't have that, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing, and they wouldn't be where they're at.
That's the easiest way to shelter all that money.
They're not paying what they're supposed to pay.
Well, because there's no federal regulation that they need to.
Exactly. Right. They're using a loophole. So he wouldn't be making that kind of money.
And so, Belinda, you said, I agree. And I saw that earlier about a previous comment. And you said, that's some BS. And Marcus says, how about we just be honest and truly say that the pastor who actually visited the White House and came away with nothing but more than a visit to the White House is simply a joke, period. And people supporting him are loyal fools. Yeah, I mean, at some point in time, it's like, I also think about, and Marjorie, I'm going to get to your comment. I think about Pastor Eddie Long when he was accused of raping the boys. His church, it weaned off a tiny bit at first, but then it was bursting at the seams. We even saw a video of some other pastors coming into the church, lifting him up as a king and gifting him like real legitimate dead scrolls or scrolls from the Dead Sea and saying that you are royalty.
Yeah, not true.
I'm just saying this is what they did. They lifted him up basically saying, never mind the haters, you are royalty. And then a couple years later he died.
But isn't that sad when the pastor has to be aggressive with average people that he is supposed to either convert or, and try to be civil with?
Because people won't read. They won't read the Bible for themselves. And so Marjorie says it's not just black preachers, it's most preachers and evangelists. I will concede that point.
I agree with you.
People need to use their own wisdom and why and where they give and why they support the churches they give to. Stop blaming. Stop blaming. I lost a comment. Stop blaming pastors and elders. These pastors are competing with each other and seeking the very glory and vanities they preach against. But memberships are going down every year, so they know their time is ticking. And I absolutely agree with that. It is not just black pastors. I would say this, though. This is probably where it's a little bit different and why people focus on black churches more. Because, like, white people overall are okay. You know what I mean? Black people, our community is suffering the most. It is said since the 1980s that the black church has collected, it's probably a lot more now, over $400 billion in tithes and offerings. I'm sure it's quite a bit more now, but since the 1980s. And so you have all this money. What happened to all this money? Is it enriching the neighborhoods? Like what did this money do? Did it solely go toward taking care of the church and the pastors? I mean, where is the accounting for it? And so, yes, membership is going down because people are starting to wake up. And then Tay says, I just don't understand this blind faith in these so-called pastors who are here to make a buck. I can't and won't respect those type. They are flashy and materialistic. As I said before, there's a church down the street from my house, a very popular church that has been on television. This dude drives luxury cars up the yin yang. And I mean, it's rare that I see him in the same car. And I'm talking about Lamborghinis too. I ain't talking about no little souped up Honda. I'm talking about G-Wagons and Lamborghinis and you name it.
And what was his previous occupation before he became a pastor?
I don't know. What was it?
He was a pimp.
Okay, well, Donovan's saying that he was a pimp and drug dealer. So I guess it's like, same line of work.
Right.
I don't know.
It's the same thing.
And so Tay also say black people are so quick to follow someone versus using their God-given common sense to see the wool is being pulled over their eyes. Well, yeah, like it says, I mean, the very Bible tells you to study to show thyself approved, rightfully dividing the word of truth. So basically, you'll know the truth and that you don't mislead other people. But a lot of people will go sit in the church. They'll have a Bible on their lap, but they won't crack the Bible open. they won't say, okay, the pastor's saying this. Let me see if this is indeed true what he's saying. They just go along with it. I mean, we've seen plenty of videos of churches all over the world where they're asking the congregation to do silly stuff. And they just do it, you know. And Al says, how ironic is it that a black preacher is bragging about an expensive car and so many black people are overspending for the pagan Christmas holiday? Well,
right.
I mean, so yeah, like, he's spending his money on what he wants. We're spending ours on what we want.
But is it his money to spend? Is that his money to spend?
He says it is. We don't have any, proof that it's not.
Let's let the federal government do an audit on that and let's see where that goes.
Well, they were supposed to at one point in time, but I never.
It never materializes.
Trump is in agreement with the churches and stuff, so he ain't gonna trip because they love him and he loves them.
Exactly.
And Billy says, he was one of those coons that went to the White House. Screw him. Yeah, he went and took a lot of feedback for that. Saying basically we need to give him a chance to see what he's talking about. And this was after, the Steve Harvey backlash. This wasn't that long ago. Hey, Alex, what's happening? He said, what's the topic? We're asking what the topic is. What's wrong with Pastor John Gray buying his wife a $200,000 Lamborghini? And Alex says, you would never see Minister Farrakhan doing this BS. Tell them what he believes on money. Well, again, Minister Louis Farrakhan, he is well taken care of because you're supposed to take care of the leadership and your pastor and things like that. But I would say this, I've never seen, and I could be wrong, any videos of him flaunting luxury cars. In fact, I heard him and I heard him several times say in a couple of his sermons that one time in the 90s that he was without cash. Very broke, for lack of better words. And the Cadillac dealer kept calling saying, I'm coming to get your car. Mm-hmm. And he says, I wish you would. Pull up in my driveway and pull and take something that's mine. I said I was going to pay you. Now, if you pull up in my driveway, you're going to meet my heat. And needless to say, they never came and got the car. He caught up. He said, in fact, I can't remember who it was. Somebody asked him to come speak. And they gave him some money to do it. And he was able to settle his debt with his car. Sure. So I've heard him talk about being financially in disarray sometimes.
Insolvent,
and let's see, did I miss a comment? Yep. Hey, Jessica, he says, every church should have overseers and financial board. We do. I also believe that pastors should be compensated. However, I also believe that the church should be taking care of their people. Yes. And so to the point that I was making, and Donovan was kind of making, he don't want the pastor to have nothing.
No. He
want the pastor to be on roller skates.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, what I'm saying is, and like I said, I'm a Catholic by faith, and all I'm saying is this, and the Catholic Church is a little different than how other churches are set up, but you're never going to find any deacon, we don't have deacons in the Catholic Church, but a cardinal or whatever that has enriched themselves. You're not going to find that. You're not going to find it. The wealth in the Catholic Church is centered in...
But some people would say that the Pope is enriched himself.
No, because that ain't his money. When he leaves here, the Catholic Church is enriched.
He ain't riding out on no donkey.
Right, but he's the leader. But what I'm saying is, though, the next pope that comes in has the same exact stuff.
Is he cooking his own food?
No.
Who's cooking his food?
Other cardinals and people that are there that are being paid. What I'm saying is the Catholic Church is enriched.
You know what? Don't be trying to act like your religion is
No, I'm not saying that. That's why you have organizations like the Catholic Charities. That's where the money... I'm not saying Catholic Church is better than anybody else. What I'm saying is in the Catholic Church, no individual leader in the church, be it a priest, be it a cardinal, enriches themselves. They can't. It goes against their bylaw.
I'm going to be nice. I was going to say something else, but I'm going to be nice. Because Donovan's my friend. Okay, and then so Jessica also say, the guy keeps saying federal government, but we have to remember what separation of church and state means. It has nothing to do with churches and taxes. All 501(c)(3)s do not have to pay taxes. Right. It isn't just churches. No, so we're not saying that it's just churches, but they are covered under that tax exemption. And
when it comes to their books and the outside of that, using the church as a tax shelter underneath that.
Right, and so that's what he's saying, which is true. They're using the church as a tax shelter, which is why, come on, you guys, think of one business other than the church, because the church is a business, I don't care what nobody says, that can collect that kind of money and not have to answer to Uncle Sam. Hell, if I was running a fruit stand on the corner, Uncle Sam would want to know at the end of the year, how much did you make? Because I need my cut. But the church is one of the only entities, and like you said, the nonprofit organizations don't have to pay taxes to some degree under that tax shelter. And Alex says, being from Chicago, my father is also a Muslim. I have been to Louis Farrakhan's house, and as a child, when my father was doing post Trust me, I know all about that being on post. My dad too. His house was fun, all the games, etc. But I don't remember fancy cars. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I don't remember people that being a thing with Farrakhan having all this luxury. Anytime I ever hear him traveling, I'm sure he travels for fun. I always hear about him traveling to do work, like with other nations and stuff. And Al says, in the church I grew up in, after collection was taken, they would count the money in front of the church out loud.
Southern church.
Name off the people who didn't tithe and would ask for more money just to round the money to and even to get even. He said, get the F out of here.
Damn.
I'm going to just go ahead and say I've seen that too, you guys. I've seen where churches would divvy up the money at the altar and say, okay, we needed to collect X, Y, and Z, and we are this amount of money short, and so we need to collect some more money. So I've seen that. But to name people, wow. But I haven't heard of other people saying that too. And so Billy says, all the pastors need is Sunday meal after service. Like back in the day.
Yeah, go sell some sandwiches.
Well, no, because he's saying that, you know, the church will make sure that the pastor eat, which is fair.
Right.
But you're saying that's all they need? And then so Alex says, we all should be riding on golden mules. Yeah, I mean, give me one.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy says, fried chicken dinners. That's it. And I can imagine him saying, that's it. And Jessica says, by that, but that's any 501(c)s. No, absolutely, that is. But you know, come on. Well, too, and I can see at this point too, because a lot of the nonprofit organizations like your Susan G. Komen's, that kind of stuff, they rake over a lot of money, and people rarely make a big deal about theirs. I think that CEO is making like $600,000 a year.
Yeah.
How is your
Planned
CEO?
Parenthood.
Yeah, but how are they
money.
making this kind of money? And you're supposed to be helping people cure cancer.
Yeah.
I thought it was like in the name of, I want to help you cure cancer. How is that your CEO is getting $600,000 a year?
Well, a lot of people are getting hip to the fact that when you open these 503Cs, they're living off the 503Cs.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Duh.
So they're opening them just to live off of them.
Right. And then, hey, Richard, he says, in universities as well. And so Jessica says, that's not just churches. That's my point. That's any. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And says, don't get me wrong. I agree. I think whoever is John Gray's PR person should have known better. Yeah, it's like, you know, sounds like he's in between two churches.
Right.
Lakewood, which is a huge church. Pastor Joel Osteen, he's assistant or associate pastor. I don't know if he's like the next in charge, but he's an associate pastor.
Joel ain't gonna put no Negro in charge. No, that's not gonna happen.
And he has his own huge church. So, I mean, between there, somebody should have said, all right, Johnny boy.
The schematics or the look of this doesn't look good.
Yeah, this is not going to jive. You know, people are going to come for your head if you do this. And then so Alex, you also say, Al, I've seen that with my own eyes too in regards to them divvying up the funds or the offerings and tithes in front of the church. Like, yo, y'all coming up short up in here. We need more than chicken dinners coming up in here.
Yeah. Have you noticed that the Black community is saturated with churches within its community, even if it's a small community?
Yeah, there are a lot of, but I would say this too. Even in Hispanic communities, I see a lot of churches. But yeah, we do have a lot of churches. Hell, up the street from you, there's two churches next door to each other.
Yeah.
So if you get tired of one, you just go
to
the
another,
other.
just walk to the other one.
Yeah. And then Jessica says, I'm on the same page as you all. I think Lamborghini is excessive when there are probably people who can't pay your lights. Yeah, right. I mean, it's the cosmetics of it.
Or how about this? Let's reverse it. $200,000 for one truck. How many Corollas he could have given to his congregation to show, hey, I'm trying to help you single moms, dads, whatever.
I want to ask you this, and think about this. Okay. And I'm going to ask you guys this too. What kind of truck should his wife, or what kind of car should his wife be driving then? What's acceptable?
F-150, just a standard F-150.
F-150?
Yeah, there you go.
So Donovan's saying that his wife should be driving an F-150 at tops? Best?
At tops.
Okay. I'm going to ask you why in a minute. Okay. And I'm going to ask you guys as to what should Pastor John's wife, who brought his wife a $200,000 Lamborghini, what should she be driving?
That's just money thrown away to me.
About that.
That's money
so
Jessica,
you're agreeing. Say yes, they do. That's what I'm saying. And Al says, "Hey Donovan, don't forget about Rev Sam, the happiness man. I knew one of y'all was gonna do it.
Yes.
On Good Times episode when Flip Wilson paid money. You said $1, I think. Hungry Preacher Uptown Saturday night played rather. Money Hungry.
That was classic. We don't roll, we don't fight, but we're gonna score tonight. That was James's old Korean War buddy.
I'm about to say Flip Wilson when he said loose lips, sink ships, bubbly. Or he talking about they got drunk, they was drinking some bubbly or whatever.
Right.
Y'all crazy. And Richard says, but you know what? Go to the Fairfax district, and you'll see quite a few synagogues. Yeah, I mean, there's in just different neighborhoods,
Communities,
and communities. There are all kinds. They're just churches. That's just. It saturates the community. I guess people need Jesus or whatever their faith is. And Jessica says, modest, whatever is modest, I think. So you're saying something modest. Well, what if she's saying, well, $200,000 Lamborghini is modest for me? Because I wanted, what's a car more expensive than that? Hell, I don't know. A Maybach, And then Candy says, can he not use the money he got from the reality show he has? I mean, that's what I'm saying. If indeed that's where his money came from, why can't he buy his wife a $200,000 truck?
Okay, wait. I'm have to disagree with that because he would not be in this position if it wasn't for the church that he represents. So some of that money in any aspect that he does should go to the church.
Okay, let me ask y'all. Okay, hold on to that. Okay, and so Tay says she can get a Buick Suburban, something nice, not flashy. Hold on, I'm asking you guys a question. And Richard says, Model X, better car, less than half the price. So he's talking about a Tesla. I like those. And then Al says Toyota Tundra. And Tay says there are some nice cars that looks great but aren't over the top. Okay. All right. So, do you guys just have a problem because he's a pastor that's buying his wife that, or what? Like, what's the issue here? I
have a problem for the fact that he is a pastor, a man of God, and he's buying his wife an excessive thing. Because what I'm saying is $200,000, the goodwill he would have done to bless other people in his church, that would have came back on it and would have been a better deal.
So let me play devil's advocate here. Michael Jordan, he is not a pastor.
No, athlete.
So let's get that out of the way. Michael Jordan is not a pastor. Correct. However, this man is raking money hand over fist with, let's say, predominantly, or I don't say predominantly, but a lot, probably most black people buying Air Jordans or whatever the hell he's selling. I'm sure his wife ain't driving a Tundra.
No, his ex-wife took half his shit, but
he's still got money.
Right.
The point, I'm making a point here. So the point that I'm making here is he doesn't, well, he's starting to now, but overall, the money he's collected, I don't see him giving a whole host of money.
Because he doesn't have to. He's an individual business person.
Is the church not a business?
No, it's not.
It doesn't run like a business?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's not. Because especially in the black community, it's not run like a business. Because if it was,
y'all wrong.
Because if it was, the pastor would not be involved in the finances. You have a CFO and all that other stuff. I've seen some successful churches that run like a business. In that situation, it's totally wrong. Michael Jordan is a businessman. Even before he was a businessman, he was an athlete. So he is getting paid off the labor of what he does in his endorsements.
But he doesn't give back as much as he's making either.
He doesn't have to.
I disagree with that, but me and Donovan always disagree.
Yes.
Okay, and so Marcus, she says, honestly, it's been 60 plus years since the black church has been on the front line for black people, period.
Ooh,
Very few black churches are doing anything other than benefiting their church, period. And the fact that anyone could ask for admiration or respect for Donald Trump says everything. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's...
Get that brother's number and email.
That's Marcus.
Oh, Marcus. Yeah. The brother, dang.
Yeah, I think that speaks a lot, too. I mean, you went tiptoeing into the White House when you know that, black people and Trump ain't really cool like that. But you, again, tried to come out selling us Trump's talking points.
Well, I have a real example for you. I have a friend that just bought his lady a nice car. But the difference is this is money that he made on his individual merit. John
Gray is saying this is the money he made.
He's a representative of the church.
So he's supposed to be a pauper?
No, I'm not saying he's supposed to be a pauper. It's like me being...
And listen, again, I'm not trying to defend John Gray, but I'm just trying to make sense of it because... Because I want, like I said earlier, I just want to make sure that I can only make sure that I don't, but that is not just because a lot of people will say that's jealousy. He brought his, and I don't think you're operating from that.
No, he's part of an organization. If you're part of an organization, you can't arbitrarily take money out of the organization because it's a conglomerate of people, right? Correct? A church is a conglomerate of people.
Right.
To take $200,000 without the congregation's approval, and I don't know what the schematics are. I don't know.
But to Candy's point right here, he has many streams of income, though. It's not
because he's using a tax shelter, so he shouldn't do that.
But I'm sure with his own money that he's making his own...
He's a member of the church. He would not be where he was if he was...
But do you think that he